Communal hatred in our country is such a normal thing. It happens almost every day and we are so much used to it. So in this video, we shall be trying to understand what causes them and how we can solve them. And also, we'll be simulating an hypothetical situation of what would have had happened if India was actually turned into a Hindu Rashtra, a Hindu nation. Would it solve all the problems and turn India into a utopian society? Well, watch till the end to find out. So before we get into our core topic, we will read the history of Belgium and Sri Lanka because they too had a communal hatred issue and learn how they solved it so we can implement that in our country as well. So in the 1960s and 70s, there was a huge problem in Belgium. The majority of the country spoke Dutch and the minorities spoke French. However, in the capitals of Brussels, the majority spoke French and the minority was Dutch. So it created a communal issue and no one had any idea on who will rule the country. Whereas in Sri Lanka in the 1970s and 80s, there was the same issue. The majority of the country spoke Sinhala and the minorities Tamil. So in Sri Lanka, what the majorities did is create a government of the Sinhala supporters. What the government did was support Sinhalas, give them opportunities, rights and all the services. However, for the minorities, it was full of discrimination and disrespect. So it created a tension between the communities and over the years it got much worse. And at one point, it started a civil war and hundreds and thousands of people were killed and millions displaced. However, in the other hand, Belgium did the complete opposite. They created a system of government where every party, every community was equally represented and their rights were protected. They even changed their constitution 4 times to make adjustments, so there was no civil war and people could live in peace. So what we learn is that they both had the same issues, but the attitude of the people decided the future of the country. But the question is why? Why are we so bad at tolerating others, even though they are just like us humans? Just think how bad this could get in India. We have not only different groups of people based on religions, but also in culture, color, skin, and even in facial structure. And being honest, it is really bad. If you open the news, then you would see that people are being mismanaged, discriminated, or even killed for being different. This problem of hating each other is not something new. It has always been there. If you go back hundreds of thousands of years ago, when humanity was still living in caves, when we were in the very early phases, then you would see that we would live in tribes. The same way we still live in groups, and anybody out of our community seems to be like our enemy. We feel hostile, but we have to understand that we live in a very diverse country and it is okay for people to be a little different. The problem is not in diversity, religion, or anything. The biggest problem in our country is not even religious issue, crimes, rapes, or murders. The biggest problem in our country is illiteracy. People being illiterate, not only on paper but literally. You don't have to have a PhD or MBA degree to be a good person. People don't have that. People don't even have the basic ideas, standards of being a decent human. Our ignorance of nature and humanity has made us our own enemy. They don't know how to behave, they don't know how to walk, they don't know how to talk. They are literally such an asshole that you would be pissed just to talk to them. But somehow, unfortunately, these people have the right to vote. But why do these small-minded people create communities and groups and brag about them? Well, there is a theory called the social identity theory where you derive your worth, your value by belonging to a particular group. For example, imagine there is a guy who is absolutely illiterate, does not know how to behave well and drinks all day, but is Brahmin. Then he is worth more than an IPS or IS who is OBC or SC or ST. And if you asked most of the people around you that who is more valuable, who you would like to be friend with, then there is a good amount of chance, a very good amount of chance that most people would choose that Brahmin and not the IS or IPS because he belongs to the lower caste. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you have done, doesn't matter how much you are worth, but what is more important is the fact that you belong to a higher class of the society. And also there are also many other reasons why we have so much communal hatred. One of them is not having enough exposure. Let me simplify this point. As a man or woman, you'd have experienced that it is really hard to engage, have a conversation with the opposite gender because we did not have any prior experience, because we had no exposure. In our whole life, we have always been separated in schools, colleges, no, not in colleges, but mostly in schools, in our households, and in our neighborhoods, that we are not supposed to be together. That creates a huge problem. That we create delusion, imagination in our mind of what the opposite gender is like. And when it comes to real life situations, we just cannot talk to them because it is really because we had no prior experience, because we don't know what they are like, how do they behave, and what they might say. And what we do many times is that we set expectations way too high or way too low, and when they do not match our reality, it hurts us bad. And many times the relationships, even marriages, break because of this, because we had no experience. The same way most of the people of different religion, of different group, have no exposure, idea, experience of what the other person is like. For most of the time of the day, what would they do is scroll through Facebook, YouTube shorts, and watch hateful speeches, videos of the other community, and they would watch videos that justify their own community. For not once it would cross their mind that the other person might just be like me, someone of blood and flesh, someone who too is looking for a better life, a better future. No, it does not concern them. What they think is that I am good and he is evil, that I must finish him off. And then we have the politicians, the politics, who amplify our hatred for each other. And that brings me to the final part of the video. What would have had happened if India was actually turned into a Hindu Rashtra? First of all, the government, the current government I would say, would never allow that. The BJP government would not allow the Hindu Rashtra to exist. Come on, that's their entire agenda, propaganda. That's how they are still in power, by expressing the idea that they one day will create a Rashtra only for Hindus. But let me tell you, the biggest obstacle if you ever wanted to achieve Hindu Rashtra is BJP himself. By the way, I'm not supporting any political group or hating any. I'm an atheist and I hate every party equally. Fuck BJP, fuck Congress, fuck TMC, fuck Aam Aadmi Party, fuck Samajwadi, whatever there is. Everybody is equally shit. It's not the parties that are bad, it's the people. If there is a bad MP or MLA, then he is not bad. It's the people who have chosen it. I mean, come on, why would you choose a rapist as your MP or MLA? Because you share the quality, because you find him similar, because you find him related. You can literally say what kind of people they are living by just looking at their leaders. If Bihar has 8th field CM, then that means the people living in Bihar are 7th field or below. You choose someone because you find him appropriate. The government wants you to go to rallies, on revolts, on riots for your ideas, for your demands, for your ideology, but never really grant them. I mean, come on, how many years has it been that the government is in power and still no steps have been taken for this? Then the question is, why does the government say this? Because it wants your votes, because you are the majority of the country, because you have the right to vote, and if they get the vote, then they get to stay in power, they get to live in luxury and experience all the facilities. Government would never let Hindu Rashtra be true, because the day the nation is created, then you will not be asking for the Rashtra anymore. What you will be asking is other things. You will be asking for better infrastructure, healthcare, education, employment, and the government cannot give you that. The government wants to keep you full while they enjoy you. And it is just another propaganda or agenda to win elections. They do not care for literally anyone or anything. And frankly, even if Hindu Rashtra was created, there would still be issues. Because the problem of dividing is not in religion, culture, but in mindset. The day Hindu Rashtra is created, we will start dividing people not on the basis of religion, but on the basis of caste, colors, languages, and even genders. We have the tendency of dividing because we think we are superior, we are narcissistic, and also there is government who are supporting this because they don't want us to stay united. The day we are united is the day when they collapse. But this idea of government, this way of running the country, it still works. You know why? Because they learned it from the grandmasters themselves. the East India Company, the British government. Back then, hundreds of years ago, when they used to rule us, they used the same policy, same structure. Keep us divided on the basis of religion, caste, and a language, whatever there is, because if we are united, we will kick them out of the country. So if we wanted to stay together, if we wanted to remove communal hatred, then the first thing we have to do is educate ourselves that we are humans, that the person next to me, the person behind me is not any alien out of this world, that he too is just a person like me, is scared of their lives, that they too want to live better, that they too want better education, hospital, and have the privilege to experience, practice their own religion and culture. The only way we can improve our country is not by dividing, by being together. Just think how diverse this country is. I don't think there is a country in this world which is as diverse as India. We have everything. If we literally got united, there would be nothing, there would be no such thing as impossible that we could not achieve. We have so much talent, we have so much potential, we are just divided. And all that can be solved and all that can be achieved only through education. Educate yourself with right kind of education. Hate no one, love everyone. And by the way, if you're watching this video until now, please do like and subscribe. As a small creator, it is so much needed and appreciated. And yes, it was not to hate anyone or support anyone. I love everyone equally, also hate equally.